Hi, squad. Um, this is your homework or your more training and just more directing as you guys are here in between this period of training camp and launch. I decided to just record myself talking about what I wanted to say. I wanted to go through something from a book that when I was trying to think about how am I going to get it from this book onto my computer and not wanting to type everything, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about what I want to highlight and just what I want our hearts to get them, what just to get us thinking in our hearts and all those things and just preparation for what we're going to do. Okay, so the book I want to kind of talk about is by E. Stanley Jones. He was a missionary to India for 40 years. He's a huge evangelist, had many movements, and hundreds of thousands of people came to know Christ because of a lot of what he has done in the early 1900s. So what I want to focus on of what he said was when he's in his book, he's describing the reaction to the gospel in India. He says the first reaction is, it isn't true. He said that first stage of reaction to the gospel was a short-lived stage, and that the gospel is so self-verifying to the human mind that it could not be waived as untrue. He felt that this part was actually really easy. He didn't need to necessarily argue. He just needed to point to Jesus, let Jesus speak for himself, let the Holy Spirit just speak, and let all the facts and everything of the validity of the gospel to just speak. He would say after that, the second stage is, well, it's nothing new. He noticed that other religions had the same ideas as the Christian faith, the same kind of parallels to everything presented in the gospel. Maybe Jesus' teaching, some of the turn the other cheek, go the extra mile, a lot of those same moral ideas. Here he says that here he got hold of the difference. In all other religion, it is the word became word, but only in Jesus Christ did the word become flesh. That he had the key that fitted both the East and the West in all their ideologies. So this is beautiful. I want to pause here. Like this is hitting this point. As we are out and as we are sharing the gospel, what is our difference and what do we have that other religions don't have? And that is the word became flesh. That is Jesus Christ. Without that, Christianity is the same as the other faiths. It is just a moralism. It's a exhortation to be good, live a certain way. But as there's nothing real living and altering from the inside, it is the same. So I love these. You've probably heard these too, but religions are our search for God. The gospel is God's search for us. Many religions, but only one gospel. So again, that is why Christian faith is not just an idea or philosophy or moralism, but it is truth in Jesus and who he is, and looking to him as truth and as religion. Okay, so the third stage is what I actually wanted to talk about and have us reflect on. The third stage, he said, after he took people from... Oh, shoot, what was the first one? Okay, it isn't true. It isn't new. The third reaction after all those was, you don't live it. You don't live it. It isn't in you. That's what the reaction was. Here, E. Stanley says, and I quote, here we must humbly acknowledge the truth of what they say. They have a point, a real one. So it's here where we're going to reflect on the brokenness and disunity of our church. It's here we're going to reflect and look at our own lives and still see the brokenness and still see the selfishness of which we live. It is here where I want us to reflect on what it means to be transformed into the image of God, into the image of Christ. It is here I want to revisit what we briefly talked about in training camp on John 17:23. It is I in them and you in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them, even as you have loved me. So homework today is asking ourselves, do we live it? Do we live the gospel? Are our lives transformed? Are we not of this world, or are we in this world? So for your first task and first kind of setting your mind and your hearts in preparation for the race, I want you to just get with the Lord. Just sit down, prepare your hearts, and ask God to show you, what areas do I need to be more refined to look like you? Where am I? Just show me my heart, like prepare my heart. And also just to, hear what God has says and what he reveals, but also to make a true commitment to yourself and also to God that you are ready, that you're ready for this transformation that is taking place, and you are continually being transformed, renewed into the image of Christ. But you are ready for it to continue on the race, so that the world will know, so the mission is possible, so that the world will know Jesus, that we will live in, that we will show it, and that others cannot deny the reality of him, because he is in us. A girl who was on the squad that I squad led Fusion 3 this past year, told me a story. I was no longer with the squad at this time, but she just was telling me how it was going, and she was in India, and she was telling me a story of a Hindu woman saw her and just saw how she was acting and behaving and just interacting with people, and she goes, "You must be a daughter of God. I see him in you." And she was just like, oh, blown away, like, wow, a Hindu woman just said she sees God in me. Like, yes, that's what I want. Like, that's where I want to be. And so just for us, like that holds a weight, but it's also very free. It's also very easy, because hitting, or sharing the gospel is simple in that way. Like, we live it, we share it, we are one with the Father, and one with Christ, and one with each other, and we live it, and it is seen, and it moves mountains, and it changes the world. So that is it. We're starting to prepare our hearts for that. We're starting to, when we get together and we're launching, we're hitting the ground running. We're pouring out and sharing what we have, knowing that we're not perfect and we don't have it all, but we have Jesus, we have Holy Spirit. So decide now that that's what you want. Decide now that you want to work through the hard stuff, that you want to be transformed, even if it hurts, because trust me, it hurts. Being refined through fire is very painful. But decide now that it's worth it. Decide now that the mission is worth it. For others to know Christ and know his love is worth it. And that we're going to push through for that. So I'm leaving you with another quote from E. Stanley Jones that I love. He says, "I saw that the gospel lies in the person of Jesus, that he himself is the good news, that my one task was to live and present him. My task was simplified, but it was not only simplified, it was vitalized." Yeah, it's good. And for those who don't know what vitalized mean, like me, because I had to look it up, it means give strength or energy to. Yeah, that's what I thought. So guys, I am so excited today. My heart was so happy, and just seeing, I know that we have squad leaders. Hi, I don't know if you get this, and team leaders on our page with us, and we're so excited. I was so excited to see all of you guys meet and come together, and I'm just excited for this journey. And I'll be connecting with you guys, checking in. Just want to give you that challenge for this weekend or early next week. Go ahead and just get with the Lord and just reflect on these things. And as we consider what we have, and that's Jesus, and that's him living in us. Love you guys. Mwah. Okay, I gotta figure out how to turn this off.